In the Black Sea, Ukraine has opened a daring new front in its ongoing war with Russia, not with traditional tanks or artillery, but with a fleet of unmanned naval drones. These high-tech, remotely operated vessels are now targeting Russia's so-called shadow fleet of oil tankers, which have long operated with near impunity in these waters. These bold attacks, many of which have been captured on dramatic video, mark a significant and dangerous escalation in the conflict. Ukraine is no longer just defending its territory. It is now striking directly at the financial heart of Putin's war machine, aiming to disrupt the flow of oil that funds Russia's military operations. For years, Russia has managed to evade international sanctions by relying on a secretive fleet of aging, uninsured tankers. These vessels have quietly kept Russian oil, and the cash it generates, flowing to global markets despite efforts to cut off this revenue stream. By targeting these ships, Ukraine is sending a powerful message. The goal is to sever Russia's main economic artery, making it clear to shippers and insurers worldwide that involvement in this trade now carries real and immediate risks. The war has now spilled over into global maritime trade, transforming the Black Sea into a high-stakes economic battlefield. Shipping lanes, once considered safe, are now fraught with danger, as both commercial and military vessels navigate a zone of escalating conflict. Each new strike forces the Kremlin into a difficult choice: either divert scarce naval assets to protect its vulnerable tankers, or risk seeing its vital oil revenue dry up. This dilemma puts immense pressure on Russia's military and economic planners. What was once considered Putin's untouchable oil system is now exposed to real danger. Ukraine's innovative use of naval drones is threatening the very foundation of Russia's war effort, showing that even the most protected assets can be reached. In modern warfare, economic lifelines can be as vulnerable as any fortress. The battle for control of the Black Sea is not just about territory. It's about crippling the enemy's ability to wage war, one oil tanker at a time. The Shadow Fleet exists because of Western sanctions after Russia's 2022 invasion. The G7's price cap on Russian oil was meant to cut Kremlin profits while keeping global markets stable. Russia responded by building a parallel shipping network, buying up old tankers through shell companies, hiding ownership, and bypassing Western oversight. This ghost armada became the backbone of Russia's war economy, moving billions in oil revenue beyond the reach of sanctions. These ships, often uninsured and poorly maintained, are environmental and financial disasters waiting to happen. They use risky ship-to-ship transfers and fly flags of convenience to avoid detection. But this sprawling, fragile network is also a glaring vulnerability. Ukraine saw the opportunity: strike the Shadow Fleet, and you strike at the core of Russia's war funding. The very system that kept Russia afloat is now its Achilles heel. Ukraine is turning Russia's workaround into a liability. Ukraine's campaign against Russia's energy sector began on land, with drone strikes crippling oil refineries deep inside Russian territory. These attacks slashed fuel production, forcing Russia to ban gasoline exports and scramble to supply its military. Next, Ukraine targeted Black Sea ports and export terminals, disrupting the flow of oil to waiting tankers. The final step: direct attacks on the tankers themselves, aiming to break the entire export chain. If tankers can't sail safely, the Shadow Fleet collapses, insurers pull out, crews refuse to work, and ports close their doors. Ukraine's strategy is clear: bankrupt Russia's war machine by cutting off its oil revenue at every stage. The war is no longer just on the battlefield, it's a fight for economic survival. Ukraine is betting that economic pain will do what weapons alone cannot. At the heart of Ukraine's naval campaign are sea drones, small, fast, remote-controlled boats packed with explosives. These innovative machines, often no bigger than a family car, are designed to slip past enemy defenses and deliver devastating blows to much larger warships. Their compact size and agility make them difficult to detect and intercept, giving Ukraine a unique edge in the contested waters of the Black Sea. Unable to match Russia's Navy ship for ship, Ukraine invested in these cheap, stealthy weapons to level the playing field. Instead of building expensive warships, Ukraine focused on technology and creativity, turning to engineers and innovators to develop a new kind of naval power that could challenge Russia's dominance at sea. Early drones forced Russia's Black Sea Fleet to retreat from key positions. Now, advanced models strike tankers and warships far from shore, reaching targets once thought untouchable. The psychological impact on Russian crews has been profound, as nowhere feels truly safe anymore. Guided by skilled operators via satellite, these drones evade detection and hit with precision at the waterline, the most vulnerable part of any ship. Their remote control allows for real-time adjustments, making each attack more effective and harder to defend against. Each attack is filmed and shared online, providing undeniable proof and psychological shock. These dramatic videos quickly go viral, spreading fear among Russian sailors and sending a clear message to the world about Ukraine's capabilities. The latest drones have longer range, better jamming resistance, and pinpoint guidance. Constant upgrades mean that each new generation is more effective, keeping Russian defenses off balance and forcing them to adapt. Ukraine's tech sector, state and private, has rallied to mass-produce these game-changing weapons. Civilian engineers, startups, and military experts work side by side, turning Ukraine into a hub of naval innovation and rapid production. The result, Russia's oil tankers, once considered safe, are now prime targets in a sea turned hostile. Every voyage across the Black Sea is now a gamble, as Ukrainian drones lurk beneath the waves, ready to strike at any moment. Social media videos of drone strikes bypass propaganda, showing the world, and Russia's allies, the new reality. These unfiltered images undermine official narratives and reveal the true cost of the conflict at sea. Ukraine's innovation has made the Black Sea a hunting ground, not a Russian lake. The balance of power has shifted, and Russian ships now move with caution, always aware of the unseen threat. The message is clear: nowhere is safe for Russia's shadow fleet. Ukraine's high-tech naval strategy has redefined modern warfare at sea, proving that ingenuity can outmatch brute force. The attacks on the tankers Kairos and Viret show the real-world impact of Ukraine's new strategy. The Kairos, an old Panamanian-flagged tanker, was hit by a Ukrainian drone, left crippled and adrift with $50 million in oil trapped on board. The strike was precise, disabling the ship without causing an environmental disaster. Days later, the Virat, another Shadow Fleet veteran, met the same fate. A drone strike left it dead in the water. Videos of both attacks spread rapidly, sending shockwaves through the shipping industry. Crews grew wary, insurers reconsidered coverage, and the risk of carrying Russian oil became all too real. These weren't isolated incidents. They signaled the start of a sustained campaign. The Shadow Fleet's aura of invincibility was shattered. Ukraine's message, any tanker carrying Russian oil is now a target. The blockade is no longer theoretical, it's enforced by explosive reality. The Kremlin's response to these attacks was silence, then denial. Russian state media ignored the incidents, pretending nothing happened. When evidence mounted, officials blamed accidents or unnamed terrorists, never Ukraine. The goal: sow confusion, avoid admitting vulnerability, and keep the Russian public in the dark. Internationally, Russia called the attacks maritime terrorism, omitting the context of sanctions evasion. But drone footage shared online told a different story, one the Kremlin couldn't suppress. For global insurers and shippers, video evidence outweighed Russian denials. The truth, the risk to Russia's oil trade is real, and no amount of propaganda can hide it. Ukraine's relentless attacks on Russian oil infrastructure have forced Putin into a difficult position. He must now choose between protecting his vital oil tankers, which are the lifeblood of Russia's war economy, or focusing his military might on the grinding war in Ukraine, where every resource counts and the front lines are constantly shifting. Escorting hundreds of vulnerable tankers across dangerous waters would stretch Russia's already battered navy to the breaking point, leaving other critical military assets exposed and unprotected elsewhere. Warships, designed for traditional naval battles, aren't built to stop relentless swarms of sea drones. These new threats can slip past defenses and inflict serious damage. Each escort mission now risks billion-dollar warships just to protect aging, often uninsured tankers, an unsustainable gamble for the Russian Navy. If Russia can't guarantee the safety of its oil fleet, insurance costs skyrocket, crews refuse to sail into danger, and the oil itself must be sold at a steep discount, slashing profits and undermining the entire export operation. The result is clear: Russia's war chest, once flush with oil money, is shrinking fast, and the economic pressure on the Kremlin is mounting with every passing week. Putin's promise of stability is now at risk as oil revenues fall, budget deficits widen, and the government scrambles to find new sources of funding. Ukraine's strategy is working, slowly but surely strangling Russia's ability to fund its war machine and maintain its military operations. The war, once fought over territory and cities, has now become a battle of economic attrition, where every barrel of oil and every ruble counts. Ukraine has flipped the script, turning Russia's own resources against it, so that what was once an advantage for Moscow is now a growing liability, draining its strength and resolve. The next move will reveal just how desperate the Kremlin has become, and how far it's willing to go to keep its war machine running.